Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you want to know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won. For all things Miami, it's Dolphins Thursday.
Good morning. Happy Friday to everyone in here today. Welcome to another episode of Dolphins Chatter with me, Rob Mosley. I hope you guys are all ready for a great weekend, unless you are fellow shift workers, that I always did, where Fridays may come at a different point in the week. But hey, no matter what, enjoy your day, kick butt, and lo and behold, Tua is blowing up Twitter again. What a surprise. It's shocking that Tua is making the rounds on Twitter today, a couple weeks after his season's over. But between skills, competition, and commercials, the Twitter trolls are out and loud and about on both sides of the fence. Dolphins' lack of making a decision on the defensive coordinator. You got the people saying they're doing their due diligence. You got the people saying they're sitting on their hands. So what is it that they're doing? Who knows? We will see soon enough. If the news doesn't break in the next few hours or over the end of the weekend, 2 or 3 days, maybe they're waiting for someone that's on the 49er staff or the Chiefs staff, or like El Capitan of Shake's channel, the Fins Tailgate, is saying maybe they want the Jets to get rid of their guy, but they haven't gotten rid of him, so that would be a bad philosophy. So I don't know. We will see on that front how they go. And it's always something to talk about in Dolphins land. To me, the whole Tua commercial is way overblown, kind of lame commercial. I got a chuckle out of it, but for making the rounds like it's like the worst thing that's ever happened. I mean, come on, guys. Is that it? Now, I agree. His performance last night was disappointing. But at the end of the day, it's just like a circus act throwing things at these things. So, yes, but his performance was not very good. It was no Dan Marino hitting the magical shot and stuff like that. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Hey, Big Joe, Big Friday Fins up, fellow fans. Thank you, Joe, Aquavision, Mark, Michael K. I think I even saw Shake Money in the house. And Aquavision, all Timothy Washington, all you guys, big welcome to the show. Cap for life in the house, and awesome. Yeah, I know it was. That commercial was just kind of lame, man. But for it to make the rounds like it's making, it's like people are overdoing. What channel is everything on? I didn't even know everything was happening. Oh, it was on ESPN last night, Scotty, the Tua competition. And it was not a very good performance from Tua. He finished last among the six. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's silly. 1 minute, it looked like he was a little confused, but I guess they were messing with him on the NFC side, saying, hold on. So it was just a mess, but it's okay. It's what we come to get used to when anything about Tua. We got a commercial and then we had that. So it's back to back pick on Tua or the support of Tua, whatever. It's never a dull moment on Dolphins Twitter. Tua looked fat. G-Man, you got me all choked up. I didn't even notice this weight, but I did see that trending on there. See, G-Man, what you do? That made me chuckle, and then I have that thing. Tua is actually good, and yeah, the commercial was fine. It was just silly. I wonder if he even knew the whole script, because it's obviously all just done with green screens and all this. I wonder if they just gave him his lines and he didn't even know what's going to be said back to him or whatever. Who knows? It's just to hold that one line that everyone, oh, you don't come up big or whatever. You're not ready for the moment, whatever the stupid thing was. Anyway, it's just silly stuff. I'm telling you what, anything can get Dolphins Twitter going. Anything under the sun. But I think that's pretty much for any fan base can get things going. So it's just how we roll. But Dolphins Twitter is special at times. I guess, yeah, I don't know. He definitely. Hey, his little brother was running around well in the game he played, East West Shrine game, I think it was. Tua, that guy has some wheels. Tua had some wheels back in the day. If you watch his college highlights before hip injury and all that stuff. It was for, oh my god, Paramount Plus. It was a commercial for Paramount Plus for their streaming service, and it was supposedly it's going to be a Super Bowl commercial. Whatever, it was okay. Give me a little chuckle. Didn't think, but I knew the minute I saw the line when the Star Trek dude, Star Wars is better than Star Trek for all you guys, just in case you didn't know. But I know he's a Star Trek dude. Said a line to Tua, and whatever. So whatever. It's just silly stuff. Who cares really? At the end of the day, CG Stroud throws like a punter. He didn't look well either. Yeah, his little brother looked good the other. I didn't. I only saw the highlights, so of course highlights are gonna look good. I'm not gonna sit there and say I watched the game. I did not. On that, I would have to ask you where that game was. I have no clue. Senior Bowl practices. I've seen some of those clips of players, but I didn't even watch any of the East West Shrine game. Well, he did win a playoff game, G man. That is true. Tua can't do commercials. Josh Allen does this. He would use a whole wrong side of the razor until Hill showed up and showed him. Can't do the commercial, Josh. Oh, please, Mark. Mark. You're sounding like your guy, Michael K there. It's all good though. It is all great in Dolphin land. Our defensive coordinator, we had we've had a lot of names that have linked to the Dolphins that we know they have interest. Some didn't even interview, but Chris Shula was the big name. He went to the Rams. Your guys like Bobby Babich didn't even interview for the Dolphins job, but they had an interest in him, but he signed with the Bills. And then, you got Anthony Campanelli, Leslie Frazier, Chris Griffin, Brendan Staley, Ryan Slowick, and Anthony Weaver. And of course, Staley and Campanelli are our in-house people. Maybe they're going to go from in-house and they just want to show people, hey, we're doing our due diligence. No one got handed anything. And this is what we're going with because they were the best in the interview. We could get that, or we could say maybe news would break while I'm doing this, and one of you guys would come in and say who the coach is because I don't go to Twitter when I'm talking to you guys because we're all teammates and I need to see what you guys are saying. But out of all those names, I like Anthony Weaver just for the fact that he comes from a winning organization. So that would be cool. But him and Staley, any of them at this point, any of them. How do we really know? We're going to debate a lot about guys we don't even know. So you can guarantee whoever the Dolphins go with is going to be highly debated topic, whether we got it right, we got it wrong. And it's going to be talking about a lot of things. We don't even know what they're going to be running and all that kind of stuff. What personnel they're going to be using, we don't even know, but it's fun to debate. So we will see. That would be the next debate. I would agree. Maybe Staley's up there in the running as the top dog, but how many times have I been wrong on the Miami Dolphins before when I think they're going to do something? Last year, it seemed like Fangio was the for sure choice by the fans. He ended up getting it. And then look, 1 year later, we're already talking about a defensive coordinator once again being out the door. So it's crazy. Okay, Mark, my brother is a Denver fan. Looks like they're going after Jimmy G. Wow, what are they doing with Russell Wilson? Then I haven't seen the latest on that. I think Staley may have been Scotty may have been the leading choice all along, but of course we could both be proven wrong by the end of the day or whenever they make their decision and they pick someone else. But and we don't know if he accepts the job. But I think he would because he's young and no team's going to be knocking his door down for a head coaching job anytime soon. So I think he would jump at the chance because now the Rams' job is filled. The Packers, he's going to have to hop on. So hopefully, maybe he's the guy. I don't mind him. I really don't mind him. He could be the guy. He could be a better mesh with McDaniel, younger coach, maybe the same philosophies and all of that stuff. So we shall see on that front right there. But it'd be interesting for sure. G Man, looks like a plan. Jimmy G and drafted QB looks like the plan. Hmm. So what are they going to do with Russell Wilson and his contract? What's the dead? Scotty probably knows. What's the dead cap money if they get rid of him, move him on, trade him on that front? I'd be interesting to see. Not that we're a Broncos talk channel, but it'd be interesting if that's what they're really saying. I'm okay giving Ramsey whoever he wants as a DC. Let him lead the defense. Hey, you're right, but you don't want players running the team. But you're right to a regard. Ramsey did give him a big endorsement, saying he's one of the best defensive coordinator he ever had. Of course, disclosure, it was 1 year. It was a 1 year. I guess that would be 2 years. 1 year, DC role before he got, the head coaching gig. So, but in that 1 year, the Rams did have a very good defense, and so there is that. So just because he failed as a head coach doesn't mean he can't be a good coordinator. We've seen it many times over the year. Like North Turner always had good offenses, but couldn't get it done as a head coach. Fangio couldn't get it done as a head coach, but still was a good coordinator overall. So it's just doesn't mean just because you failed as a head coach that you can't go back to being a good defensive coordinator. Some people are just better suited for that. This is how it goes. So there is no out for Russell. Okay, Denver is stuck with him. So I guess they're stuck with him and Pay. That's going to be ugly. Have him there as the backup or whatever if they bring in someone to start. Woo, that talk about some ugly locker room because you hear he's kind of that prima donna and all of that kind of wanting his own room and office back in the day and all of that stuff. So who knows? That's going to be interesting. At least some other teams have some hot messes. It's good to see the Jets have a hot mess going on. So we're not the only team out there with the hot mess. Do I have a guess? I would guess probably Tyreek once again. Any of the big money guys, Chubb maybe once again. Who knows? Those guys are good ones, and it's tough. I don't think they want to do anything with Armstead because they just want to get out of that. They don't want to push that money down the road. He's not going to take less money, so you're kind of stuck with Armstead, I think, because you don't want to put more money down the road where it makes it harder and harder to get rid of him in the future. And so we will see. Mike White will probably be cut. Crossan with the defensive back, who hardly played at all anyway, will be cut. So they can save some money. And of course, we all know they can restructure to not restructure, but give him an extension, which would free up some cap money for this year. But are they ready to take that step? That's the big unknown on that front. And we will see. Because we got some big contracts, that's for sure. Maybe Rams see him and reworks that contract. I would rather keep an eye on void years added to restructures this offseason. Yes, Scotty, they definitely got to run with the. Yes, I know you would love that. I know you would love Stephen Ross to sell the team, though, number one above all, G Man. And that's not going to happen. But I know that'd be your number one. If I had to ask G Man what his number one choice would be, Ross sells a team or McDaniel's fired or Greer's, he would say Ross sells the team if I had to bet what G Man would say. We will see on that. Let's see anyone else. Dolph fan Don, big welcome to you. Did not see you sneak into the room. Welcome, Dolph fan Don. And you're right that a lot of people tend to be saying that he seems to be the guy. I can't say you're right because I don't know if he is the guy. I lean towards him being the guy. He just fits the philosophy of a McDaniel type coach. So we will see on that front. And I don't mind. I know Dolphins Twitter will blow up if he's the guy because everyone's just going to bank what he did as the head coach. They're going to overlook the year he was a defensive coordinator with a highly ranked defense. They're going to pick on him and his record in the Chargers game. People are going to mention he gave up 63 points in a game, his defense, when he was calling plays. We're going to hear all of that. But at the end of the day, if he's the best choice, it's just noise that doesn't matter. And because the McDaniel has to know who fits with him because you need a cohesive locker room. Whether you say that soft players, soft coaching staff, whatever, you still need any working environment, especially in the locker room in sports. You need to be cohesive. You need to be on the same page. So you know what the left hand has to know what the right hand's doing. You got to. It's vital to success in the NFL to be on the same page with one mission, and that mission being winning. So you definitely have to be there. And that's where I feel like I don't mind them taking their time looking for the proper defensive coordinator. Because let's face it, if we would have rushed into it, everyone would have been saying, oh, they just rushed. They didn't do any diligence and they just rushed into it. Now that we're waiting and looking, it's like we're sitting on our hands and we can't make a decision or no one wants to come to us. It's just, you can't win when you're the Miami Dolphins. And it's understandable. We haven't won a playoff game since what? December 30th, 2000. So you guys all know that date. That's the one thing I know you guys get out of my show. You would know the date that the Dolphins last won their playoff game. Dad Dean, welcome to the room. Well, good to have you back in here. Timothy Washington, as always. Yes, me too. I am glad that Timothy. I wish you were the offensive line coach. Timothy almost gave you a job with the Dolphins. Timothy, I agree. I'm happy that Butch Berry is staying with the Dolphins. That has been a position where we've changed coaches way too often. Way, way, way too often. Every single year we were changing off for 10 years, not just like, the past couple years because these guys get moved around. It's just because they haven't been good and they've been gone. So it's been ugly. So I'm happy finally that it looks like Butch Berry is going to be at least a 2-year, 10-year Dolphins offensive line coach. Of course, I'm opening my mouth now and I'll probably go on Twitter later and find out, I shouldn't have said that. But it's looking like he's going to be back next year. And I'm liking that fact as well, Timothy. So very good point by you. Yes. Well, I sometimes joke if it's even dinosaurs roamed the earth since the last time we won a Super Bowl. It just feels that way sometimes. It's just insane. We're talking playoff game. There's teams that have won multiple Super Bowls since we've last won a playoff game. That's what's embarrassing about it. I mean, there's multiple teams that have won multiple Super Bowls since we've last won a playoff game. It's just something just hasn't been right in Miami Dolphin land for way too long. And I don't buy into that whole, it's Miami, it's South Florida. People just go to have fun. Then why did the Heat win championships and stuff? So if you build the right culture, it's like I don't even follow, but I know that's the Heat term, the Heat culture. If you build all that right, it doesn't matter. You can't tell me there's not great places to go for all these guys that are playing in Kansas City. Yes, it's not the nightclub life, maybe as some of those other, but there's still plenty to do. Still plenty of money that they can go get drunk off their butt at home with. So it's not like these other cities don't have things that these players can go get. I mean, if Vegas ever starts winning, then that whole because Vegas is probably the craziest city to be an NFL player. That city is literally 24/7 party morning through night every single day, never ends in Vegas. So if they build a winner, then that misnomer would be kicked out forever because that's party city right there. So don't give me that South Florida is the reason that the Dolphins aren't winning. It's just we haven't been good enough. That's a simple fact of the reason. It's not because we are in South Florida, because then you won't be able to tell me why the Heat have won multiple championships. So, nothing to do with that. Let's see. Let's see. Pierre was really smart, taking the demotion and working under Budge. Yeah, well, Pierre was always kind of that and guy that was more of the offensive line assistant. But yeah, he did. He was smart staying on the staff and working with him. Maybe he will work himself up to somewhere and he will leave somewhere in the league and get that promotion because it will help. Stephen Ross is a reason, Rob, not South Florida. Yeah, I agree with you more on that front. I agree with you. It's definitely not South Florida. And Ross, like I say, I will defend Ross at times on here, but has he won a playoff game under his ownership? No. So there's no defending that. He just gets it wrong, and he continues to get it wrong when he comes to getting all the right people in place to put a consistent winner together. And that's where we can all agree on. It's been way too long since we've been a good team that advances to the playoffs. Because that's the problem with the Dolphins. We're always kind of good, never really awful, awful. We've had a couple awful years, believe me, 1 in 15, and a couple other years like that where we've had. But for the most part, we're very middling. So we're never really way up there in the top part of the draft, and we're just always we're good enough not to be good, good enough to be frustrating, good enough to win like double digit games this year and last year, winning seasons for the past few seasons, but not good enough to get to that next step of actually winning a playoff game. Now we've had two playoff, seasons in a row and still no playoff victories. Injuries play a part. All these things factor into it for sure. But at the end of the day, no playoff wins since 2000, and it's ugly. Good morning, all Dolphins and Michael K from Steve Malloy. Thank you, Steve, for rolling in here today. Always a big thumbs up to you. And Steve, don't forget to nail those thumbs up here on my channel. Helps the channel grow, as you know. Webb was a big factor for Marino's success. Maybe the Super Bowl definitely wrongly affects. Yes, I mean, the Webb wasn't here from the get go but he did play for Marino many years, and yes, he was a big factor of that. Him and Keith Sims came in as rookies and played right away. Imagine rookies contributing to a team, Chris Greer. Imagine, come on, Chris Greer. Well, Chan, I have to say, he contributed. If he hadn't gotten injured, he would have put up monster numbers as a rookie. Already put up decent numbers as a rookie. But we need more tough players. We need guys in the trenches where Greer hits his and play right away. We need guys on the offensive line and gritty defensive guys. Wilkins has been a good pick, but he might be out the door. So even that's going to be like, okay, he nailed that pick, but now look, it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating to be a Dolphin fan. And what more can I say? There you go, drafting. There you go. I would agree, man. I love those two guys. I'm going to do a lot more, but those two names, thanks Frazier, especially thanks to Scotty, I know. And the other one, I'm not going to Fatanu, whatever. I screw up his name, but I've seen him linked to the Dolphins in many first round mock drafts. So I've gotten to know that name a little bit. I'm going to be doing more draft stuff soon. Let's get this defensive coordinator mess out of the way. Let's get the Super Bowl out of the way. Then it'll be all full throttle to the draft talk. Should be a fun draft season. Miami actually has a first round pick for the first time in a couple of years. So as long as we don't trade it away, of course, and Greer didn't discount that. But hopefully we use that pick because it's what we really need to bring in. Use that first round pick for a guy ready to play. Unless you use him on a guy that already has an affordable contract. I'm not about bringing in a guy that you got to give a bag of money to. That's just really not what the Dolphins need to do right now. They need at least a guy under control for a couple more seasons with a relatively good price tag. But I'm all about using that first round pick. They need to start supplementing this roster with young players on better contracts. That's how you get out of salary cap hell. So That's what I think. It all depends on Greer how to see close we actually get. What did Aqua say? When you draft O line, it takes 2 or 3 seasons to let. Sometimes, G man, let's see. If you're it's only drafting late, on like I said, yes, I agree with kind of with Scotty there. Aquaman. If you draft well in the first round, let's keep that term well in the first round because I know Austin Jackson took a while. Actually, his rookie season, he was kind of okay, then kind of faded out in his rookie season. Then he been battled with some injuries since then. And then this season, you're right, Marco. It took him a while, but he's gotten to the decent level now. Already got an extension. So that is true on that part. But if you do it well in the first round, they should be day one starters. It's like Richmond Webb, as I mentioned, got back here in the day. I know that was many moons ago, but Richmond Webb and Keith Sims came in and they were day one starters their time with the Dolphins. It can be done. Yes, we all know Ross employs Greer. Aqua, that's only if you were drafting O line late. Oh, wait, we already did it. I saw something else I wanted to put up there. No, top five parroting. Gee, man, I think an owner sets up a team for success failed by the front office choices, and then he needs to step away and let the front office handle football. And and that's what I think he does. But unfortunately, he sometimes he picks the wrong guys to handle the football matters, is what we're saying. And like I said, I hope Greer proves me wrong. I just hope. I just thought they should have got rid of him way back, even before, because I know he was with the organization since 2000. So when they got rid of Gase, is when I think they should have just totally blown up the whole thing then and got rid of, because he's been in position of defense general manager since 2016. But people say he didn't really have say until 2019. But when they were just getting rid of, to me, when they got rid of Gase, they should have just blown up the whole thing, brought outside guys in, and start from really, really from scratch with a whole new philosophy of outlook, different thinking from what the Miami Dolphins, because Greer has been basically raised in the Miami Dolphins. You know, he worked for New England for a little bit before coming to Miami. He's just been a force with the Dolphins many years. He has that line of thinking, so sometimes it's good to bring in outside the box so you have it. Because we've brought into the Tannenbaum. I don't know why Ross brought him in. That was a failure. Jeff Ireland was just a recommendation of Bill Parcells. So Bill Parcells basically brought him in. That was Huizinga actually hired that crew, but then Ross took over. Parcells didn't get along with Ross, basically, is what it said, and he got himself out of Miami. And it just went kind of downhill from there again, because in Ireland, he stayed around, and then he was part of the problems. We've had a lot of part of the problems, no part of the solution. So I'm giving Chris Greer his chance because Ross keeps on giving him his chance. So, it's what we have to do. I'm also Calvin Ken Smith as a second round pick this draft. Well, hopefully he better start. I know all those reports started floating about him, about his lack of work effort, but all those were pre-draft reports that came out. So how do we know what he's really doing? So hopefully he does have the work ethic. I wish he went in and tweeted out like, "Oh, I'm free." He should just shut up, go play football, prove he belongs out there. Shouldn't have been, to me, sometimes social media is it's going to happen. Players are going to say stuff on social media. It's just the new way. We all got to get used to it. But to me, Cam Smith would have just been better off not tweeting out anything about being free and all of this kind of stuff and uncaged or whatever term he used. To me, he should have just go out there next year, prove he belongs, prove he earns the playing time, and go earn that job in that respect. Then talk trash after, say, "Man, I wasn't given," but go play before, don't open your mouth until you back it up on the field. That's how I'm looking. first and second round. Yes, they need to be this year without a doubt, Scotty, because we don't even have a third and fourth round pick to fall back on. So the Dolphins need to hit. No pressure, Chris Greer, but you need to hit on the first and second round. And I'm talking about when hit day one starters, like Scotty says. They better be day one starters. Expect nothing less when you that's the only two picks you have until the fifth round. So you've got to go out there and nail it, Chris Greer. So come on, man. You got to do it. Not that you ever see this, of course, but we all know he needs to hit this. And it's sad to tell you the truth that it's been way too long. God, he says, I can't believe how they hid all this turmoil from Hard Knocks. I bet there's a video of some crazy stuff that Miami had edited. Oh, I'm sure, Scotty. Editing was probably in full effect on that day for sure, on those shows for sure, because this is just nutty stuff. But like I say, there's other teams going through the nutty stuff too. I don't know. I guess unless you win, there's dysfunction on your team. And the Dolphins have been dysfunctional for 2 decades. Let's face it. We've had so many embarrassment moments as Dolphin fans over the years. I'm still hoping we can trade out of our cap money. Some you can maybe, but some of those you can't because you take on. So we cannot trade Tyreek Hill, for instance. You will have way too much dead cap money. So there are some players you can maybe get out. You can cut Ogba, cut Cross in, cut Xavier Howard maybe after June 1st. And but remind you, if you cut him after June 1st, that money's available on the cap not until after June 1st. So you can't go like when all the big free agents hit, you can't go signing those guys with that money. But it could help with the draft class signings. So that's how they'll probably do it. I think hey, hooked up Joe says he thinks the turmoil was overblown. If Holland really didn't allow Fangio when posting kick rocks, that is literally one player that posted about it. Cam, unless I no, Cam just posted that he was free now and would have and whatever. Basically, I don't know the exact, but he was basically just saying that he was free and let loose and whatever. So kind of right after Fangio was let go. So we will see. To me, they were talking about it on the Joe Rose show. Is the only reason I know this morning. I was driving around doing the things I need to do, and Joe Rose was talking about how Cam Smith tweeted out about being free now and given finally being going to be getting a chance. Joe Rose was like me, he's old school. He goes, man, just be quiet, go out there. You're going to come back no matter what next year, and then show out there in training camp that you're busting it out and you're good, and let your playing do the talking. That's all Joe Rose was saying. I've heard bad stuff from Cam Needham, ex Ramsey, and coaches. Yep, that is true. So we will see. And I don't, been lurking this AM. I have to agree with Rose. Yes, I do too, Miss Vince, on that one. Just keep it quiet. Now, if you had been like, if it was Ramsey saying something, okay, he's earned that right to say something. But when Cam Smith's talking about it, just, you know what? Show up and play. You hardly even got on the field. Just show up, play next year, ball out, then, show the world you can play and say, hey, then you could say after, this is what happens when I'm given a chance, So it's all great. Thank you, Miss Fins. As always, you had a great show this morning. She had Nick Needham's mom on. If you and she's been on this show before, and Miss Finn's been on this channel before, I should say, and so has Nick Needham's mom. Great interview that she did with her today, and go check that out. A lot of good stuff over there. I was trying to get Miss Fins to bite asking her about the contract stuff because I didn't ask her when she was on my channel. I said, I know I can't ask that, but maybe Miss Fins will ask it. But she kind of answered it actually, saying, she would like to, but there's not really anything going on right now. So that's all good stuff. What do you think, Fins? Hey, that man, that's something I have. No, that's but I figured that Fangio did it, Scotty. But now you're thinking outside the box. That's I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did because that would have been probably like we would have heard or something would have been leaked because I that was good and he shut Wilson down basically. I mean, I know the Jets don't have a lot of other weapons, so maybe it's easier to do with them, but that was good. And hopefully, maybe that's what they're asking these D coordinators. Do they shadow guys? Do they do this? Hopefully, we do that a little bit. Let's see. Wow. Okay. So hooked up Joe. He said he heard it. Ramsey did it himself. Hey, that's news to me. I don't know whether it's true, whether it's not. At least it's fun to talk about. That would really be wild. I'm sure Fangio would have been fuming and eyebrows twitching during the game, like I didn't put him on him, but it worked. And then they obviously didn't go back to it. Though they should have just done it against. Well, we beat the Cowboys and stuff, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, this is what we're left to talk about in Dolphins land. Chiefs fans are talking about their back-to-back Super Bowl, talking about six back-to-back AFC Championship game appearances, and we're talking about fired defensive coaches, quarterbacks not hitting targets in a silly skills competition and silly Tua commercials. I mean, this is what this is what being a Miami Dolphin fan has become. Instead of talking about playoffs, we're talking about commercials, and playoff, not even Pro Bowl appearances. Like he had a bad game in the Pro Bowl. We're talking about hitting targets and whatever. So this is what we've become. It's just, but that's what happens when you don't win a playoff game for over 20 years. You're going to hear every negative things is going to get louder and louder until you go out there and erase the narrative that you can't get it done when it matters. So, and we haven't gotten it done. So some of the talk is justified, unfortunately. Yeah, no, you're right, Joe. All but two teams are talking about the same, except for we just happen to have a quarterback that's really polarizing. And the commercial came out early yesterday, so that was making the rounds. Oh my God, how could Tua take that commercial? Oh my goodness, it's such a shot at him, and this and this. Then, then the skills competition comes around, and he finishes the last out of the six guys, and then that all of a sudden and let's face it, if he would have won it, people would have said, "Oh, it's just a skills competition and it means nothing." So it's just like it's silly. It was just a silly event. He didn't do as well as people hoped, and it's making the round. So that's just the facts. We have fans that are really pulling. Tua is just a normal. Tua is normal, but he rather you want to say the fans are the ones polarizing him. So we're the polarizing. But he gets talked about on the national basis all over. He's just for whatever reason, people love the Tua topic. And there's people pro Tua, there's people that aren't Tua. I would never say hater because hater to me is a strong word. I don't really think people because there's no way you can hate Tua. There's some people that won't respect them no matter what you do. Now, there are probably some people that do. There are some terms, there are some haters out there. I correct myself. There are plenty of haters out there, but some people would just give constructive criticism and then they get labeled as haters. So there are difference. There are some total haters out there. So let me correct myself. I'm not that naive. There are plenty of haters, but there's a lot of people that get labeled as haters that just give criticism of Tua, but they don't hate him. They want him to win because he's a Miami Dolphins quarterback. So that's how I look at it. No, you're right, Scotty. There are some haters. That's why I trolled back a little. I stepped back from the original statement. There are some haters, but there's not. There's a lot more that would just say, "Hey, I don't think he's the guy" or something. And that's just their construction criticism that get labeled a hater. So, like my boy Steve Malloy, I don't know if he's in here. He's not really a hater. He gets labeled as a hater, but he will criticize what he does, whether it's right or wrong. Yes, Steve, whether you're right or wrong, he will criticize, but he will also praise Tua when Tua does well. So to me, that's not really a hater. It's just someone that's hungry for a team to win, and he wants his quarterback to win, and I do too, Steve. So I'm with you on that. But then there's other people that no matter what, Tua could lead us to playoff victories, to the Super Bowl, and then those people would say, "Oh, he's just a game manager," kind of like what they're doing to the Purdy kid out in San Francisco. Some guys, it's just hard to win that respect for whatever reason. Yes, critiquing is not hating; it's just pointing out where the player can get better. Agreed, Miss Fins, 100%. That's how I look at it. Because end of the day, I will sometimes point that Tua didn't show up in the big games, but at the end of the day, man, he's wearing this logo. He's wearing the colors I love, and he's my quarterback. He's my quarterback, and that's how I look at it. And so, of course, I root for him 100% of the time. He's my quarterback. But if he has a bad game, I'm going to say he had a bad game. If he doesn't come through in the big game, I'm going to say he didn't come through in the big game. Doesn't mean I hate the kid. He's a great young man. There's no reason to hate him, but I'm not going to say he did great just because he's a great guy. We're all nice people in this room for the most part, but we all have days that we don't do the best on the job. It's just a fact of life. So if he doesn't do great, I'm going to say he didn't do great. And when he does great, I'm going to sing his phrases and play the Miami Dolphins fight song on my Victory Mondays, like I like to do. So it's just, how we roll. Yes, Scotty, there is a difference between critiquing and hating. And there are people that hate. I'm 100% with you, Scotty. There are some people that there are people that want the Dolphins to fail just to say they're right, that they are right. So that's hating because there's some people that just want to be always saying they are right. So they just happy the Dolphins fell. So you got those people too, Scotty. But there are a lot of people that get mislabeled as haters just by simply pointing out the facts that the young man didn't have a great day that day. That's it. I mean, let's face it, that skill competition, he wasn't that great last night, but it's a silly circus of a competition, and there's a lot of people out there bashing him for it, and so that gets a little overblown. But did he do well? No. So if I say he didn't do well in it, doesn't mean I hate him. He just didn't do well in it compared to the other players, obviously, because he had less points than everyone else. So that's it. Anyway, guys, back to the main defensive coordinators. Who do you guys want? I know a lot of people think Staley's the leader in the clubhouse. You guys seem to like him. Do you guys do like Weaver? Do you guys like Frazier? I haven't heard much more. I haven't really heard. I mean, the Dolphins are keeping this mum, unless you guys are on Twitter right now and seeing things I'm not seeing because, like I say, you guys can break news to me anytime. But it's interesting. Not many leaks other than the names we've seen leaked out there that the Dolphins are interviewing, but we haven't got any word who's a strong favorite, who's going to be the guy. It's just interesting. I know you guys all said you think Staley's the leader, but is that the guy you want, or is you just think that's the guy the Dolphins are going with? That's would be interesting. Oh, did Lance sneak in here? Man, sometimes guys sneak in there. Hey, Lance, I hope you're safe driving around out there. If you're working today, be safe on those roads. We might go to the. uh, let's see. Scotty says Frazier is my favorite because of his knowledge of Al. That's a good point, Scotty. Very good point on your end. My one question is, why would he up and leave Buffalo? What's the whole story there? And then I'm always going to go research that, and then something else pops up in Dolphin Land, and I start looking at that. So, but I'm going to go try to figure out why did Frazier leave Buffalo? Was it inner workings? Was he told he was going to be being let go? Was it just he was tired of it? I'm very curious on why he left. Is he another Fangio type? If you bring him in, and is he going to be a one and done? And I mean, there's a great possibility that anyone we bring in is a one and done because we very know well how Ross operates. If Mike McDaniel doesn't win a playoff game this year, there's a good chance he's gone because Ross has a history of keeping coaches 3 years. Adam Gase 3 years, Flores 3 years, Philbins they kept 3 years plus. He made it a little into his fourth season, and he was let go in the fourth season when Dan Campbell took over as the interim coach. And so, that's the most anyone's ever made it into their fourth season under Ross as the owner. So if McDaniel doesn't get it this done, history tends to repeat itself. We may be talking about everyone one and done and we're blowing up the whole coaching staff again. So we will see. I hear control was didn't. Yeah, I know McDermott called plays this past year. Maybe that was the issue. Maybe he was calling them in the year that could be when Frey. That's good. That's a good point. Scotty once again bringing home the good 4-1-1. So that might be the issue. It's just weird that he just left though like that. Just so that's the only thing I'm a little hesitant about Frazier. But other than that, I would like the move. He's probably the most to fit in with the style defense that they run. Well, Staley too, because he's a disciple, basically, a Fangio from what they're saying. So Staley could be fine too. Yeah, exactly. We all know as it's 3 years, it's ridiculous. We need consistency at some point from the next. Yes, I agree, Miss Fins. It's just crazy, man. Every 3 years, it's like repeat, rinse, and start it all over, or whatever that saying is. It's just the same thing. Today's Groundhog Day. That's a perfect day to say it. We are Groundhog Day here in Miami Dolphins land. Every 3 years, it's the same thing. We're starting over. And then there are going to be those fans that see that first press conference of the new head coach, and people, I'm going to run through a wall for him. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We're going big places. And then a couple of years into the tenure, he needs to go. He needs to be fired. He sucks. He can't bring a winner. That's just what we do. McDaniel was the darling, but the honeymoon of McDaniel is over if a lot of the people. It's like that's already over. So it's like we just obviously go after it year after year. It's the same old thing. It's just it is. What did Lance say last? You guys are having all kinds of good comments today. Okay, there you go. I know. Hey, Abba, I didn't see you sneak into the room. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Abba, for rolling into Dolphins Thirsty today. Big fins up to you. And if you haven't done so already, nail those thumbs up. As Miss Finn says, it's free and it helps my channel grow. And it's really our channel because without you guys, there is no Dolphin Thirsty YouTube channel. So it's you guys that make this channel. Oh. I know Lance is not a Tua guy, but I wouldn't call Lance a Tua hater. Lance wants Tua to do well in that. So that's why I say there's difference between those. So Lance is a good, perfect example of someone that can criticize Tua, but he doesn't hate Tua. He wants Tua to be the guy. He wants Tua to do well. It's just he doesn't feel like it's happening. It's been since your Lance Brown. What happened to your boy Lamar? Didn't you want to get him 60 million to choke? Hey, Adam. I just say the Kansas City defense, they came prepared in that game against the Ravens. And, we just all thought, oh, man, the Dolphins, we only scored 7 points against Kansas City. And we scored, one touchdown against Kansas City in the sleet, the snow. We scored one touchdown. Ravens scored one touchdown against them on their home turf. So, that Kansas City defense is no joke. They are good. They're probably even better than their offense at this point, except for, of course, Mahomes, who's like getting up on GOAT status here in the very near future, already going for his third Super Bowl in his fourth Super Bowl appearance. Yeah, so it's crazy, man. Crazy how great he's been. But man, that defense was legit. They just put a hurting on the Ravens, and Lamar did not have his best game in that game. But overall, Lamar had an MVP season. He's going to be the MVP of the NFL. So I'm not picking on Lamar. But that game, Kansas City did a great job of slowing down the Ravens. The Ravens were killing everyone. They probably already had their eye on the Super Bowl because they had destroyed both of the NFC participants. They had destroyed the Lions and the 49ers. They were probably like salivating at the chops, but they forgot one thing. Patrick Mahomes and that defense were coming to town and they got beat. That makes sense. The only person to change my mind on Tua is Tua. You are 100% right. To me, where we live with Tua is he's good, but can he get to that great elite status? He's good. He led the league in passing. So, you can't be a chump and lead the league in passing. Yes, he had weapons, but guess what? I grew up with Dan Marino throwing to Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. So that helps a little bit, of course. So, but then at the same time, his performance in big games is concerning to me. It is. It's just, I can't say anything else about it. It's concerning. You just don't feel like he can put his team on his back and take you for that victory at times, you know. And he did very well against the Cowboys. He got the ball, and you thought, hey, maybe this is his awakening. He got the ball, went down the field, was able to use the running game, some timely passing to get the Dolphins in field goal range, milk that clock. So I said, okay, maybe this is Tua's awakening. But then you know, then we never win another game after that. We lost to the Ravens in blowout fashion. Then the Bills once again came in and beat us. And it was awful. So, I really thought maybe that Cowboys game was like okay, he got it. Now he has confidence. He can do it when it's all on the line. And we never won a game after that. So it is what it is. Didn't Lamar have a better defense? This is from Abba Abba, or probably AB, Abba Abba, whatever. You can correct me. Don't want to ruin anyone's screen name. Didn't Lamar have a better defense than Dolphins, better coach than Dolphins, better rushing offense than Dolphins? So he needs everything perfect around him. Okay. Well, we had an okay rushing, but yeah, I know. Of course, people are going to say John Harbaugh is a better coach because the man's won a Super Bowl. So it's hard to say McDaniel is better than Harbaugh. So I agree with you there. Yes, they have a good defense. And so, yeah, I can agree with a lot of that. Yes, that's a big thing too. Ravens offensive line is very good as well. I agree because I don't believe our offensive line was as bad as it's been, but I think some of that's coaching and we moved players around. We had so many players. I think only the Jets are the one that started more offensive linemen than we did, because we had to move so many different outside of Austin Jackson. It wasn't a position that we didn't lose at some point in the season on a regular basis. I mean, Austin Jackson, I think, missed a little bit, but nothing. He was basically the most solid guy throughout the whole year. Armstead missed his time like he does. And when getting hurt was an under the radar kind of guy getting hurt. He was actually playing very well for the Dolphins. Connor Williams, by far not under the radar. I think that's what most fans would point to as probably the biggest loss of the season when we lost Connor Williams. You missed Hunt for a lot of games. But yet the line played okay. If you can get solidified guys that hopefully stay healthy next year, and then we might be better. So there are things that we can do to improve. But God, Scotty said it perfect earlier. We got to know those first and second round picks this year. You've got to throw the right dart at the dartboard, man. Grab the right name out of the hat, because sometimes I really think that's what the draft becomes, because we got a guy that was the last pick in the NFL draft just a couple of years ago that got his start thanks to the Miami Dolphins because we hurt Jimmy G in that game. And then Brock Purdy goes on. It's so Dolphin, so Dolphin. And then now Brock Purdy is in the Super Bowl. And I don't even want to hear, oh, he's just a game manager. He's this and that. And anyone can win. And it might be true. Shanahan seems, but Trey Lance didn't seem to fit the mold. But he wins with a lot of different quarterbacks that may not be elite quarterbacks. But Brock Purdy's playing in the Super Bowl, guys, and he was the last pick of the draft. So you can find guys that help your team win. So Miami just needs to do that, man. Just needs to step up this year. What did Scotty say? Look at the team right now. They all have top O lines except us. We rank second last, guys. That's just a fact. I'm not asking for number one. Yes, that's what I always say. Just an average offensive line. That's it. That's it. That's all we need is an average offensive line with some of the weapons that we have. Ross should have got hardball guaranteed. Fangio would have stayed. Unfortunately, you know, timing didn't work out. If it would have been next year, if like we failed this year, then Harbaugh became, if he would have stayed at Michigan one more year, then maybe the Dolphins would have been on the clock for me on the table for Harbaugh. But this year we were keeping McDaniel no matter what. And it's just how it went. Oh, that's a big difference. I agree. I'm not saying Purdy is all that. He was the one thing cool about him, he was a Miami Dolphins fan, and he wears 13 because of Dan Marino, is what he said. So that's pretty cool. Cool fact about Purdy. But he gets the job done. He was horrible against the Ravens, so I thought maybe his glass slippers were coming off and he was becoming then against the Packers, he didn't look good, but he found a way to drive the team at the end and get the win. For a lot of the game against Detroit, the Niners didn't look all that great, but somehow they pulled it off, came back and overcame the 17-point deficit and won the game again. So, he's got to start giving. He got lucky on the one play. He threw it to the Lions guy. It bounces off the Lions face mask and into the hands of the 49ers receiver. And, that's the perfect example. Sometimes it's better lucky than to be good. And that was a perfect example of that on that play. Yes, perfect. He just stays cool-headed. He doesn't panic. He's very good at staying calm and like that. So, remember, guys, this guy is now he's Mr. Relevant, no more Mr. Irrelevant. When you make the Super Bowl in your second year after having been undrafted, basically undrafted, but last pick of the draft, and you're in the Super Bowl, you're doing something right. I know the 49ers offense is set up like that. They could have probably had Darnold playing at quarterback this whole year starting, and they may be in the same boat. So we don't know. It's a good possibility, though, that Darnold would have been playing that way, too. Hey, Shake Money in the house. Big fins up to you of the Fins tailgate guys. Good stuff all the time over there. Check them out. Shake, why don't you throw a shake at my thumbs up button for me this morning, buddy? I gave your El Capitan some kudos about his story about the Jets head coach and all of that over there going on, seeing whatever. So, because El Capitan, he thinks that the Dolphins really want Salah, however you say his name, the Jets guy, but that the Jets never got rid of him. So that was his take. That's why we're sitting there, because we don't really know who we want from the list of people going out there. Let's see, Lance Purdy. No, Purdy. Hey, Purdy has been looking pretty. And the funny thing is, he got his start against the Dolphins because we hurt Jimmy G that game, and I never like to see injuries. But I'm like, oh, okay, we got the last pick of the draft coming in against us, and he went and he beat us, and he went on a great run and didn't even lose a regular season game. And it's just crazy what the young man's done. Then and now, and of course, since then he's lost regular season games, but he went on a run where they didn't lose with him at the helm, and he's been their guy ever since. So it's insane, man, that he's done that run. It's like another Brady story, basically. Drew Bledsoe got hurt, Brady came in and never looked back. Now I'm Purdy, it may be that guy that they hit on. Which is so funny. They trade, the 49ers trade 3 first-round picks to move up to take a quarterback. And then the last pick in the pick in their draft is the guy that ends up being their star. So that's why you can't tell me there's any rhyme or reason to the NFL draft. They gave us 3 first-round picks, move all the way up, fall in love with Trey Lance, take him, And then a guy that they've taken with the very last pick of a draft just 2 years ago is their starter in the Super Bowl. You can't make this stuff up. It's crazy, but yet then the 49ers look like a great organization because they know this. Yeah, exactly, Scotty. Hey, all right, Shake. Shake will be live at 6 over there, guys, on the Fins tailgate. Check them out. Stuff we need to know, important info, or we'll be square. Hey guys, it's 11 a.m. I am done. Thank you for letting me ramble on for an hour. Loved you guys in chat. You guys make it all kinds of fun. One day at this time, we will be talking about our Dolphins getting ready to play in the Super Bowl. And then we may all wake up from the same dream or something. But hey, you never know. It can happen, man. You just need to get that one playoff win off that playoff win streak, not winning one, that monkey off your back, and maybe things will open up. Maybe we just have that magical run the very first year we win that playoff game. You just go on a great hot streak. Look at the Lions. They hadn't won forever, and they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. So it can happen, Miami Dolphin fans. That's my line for today. It can happen. We can have it happen in Dolphin land. We just need to start doing things right and get there. Thank you, Abba. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Hooked Up Joe, Miss Fins, and Shake Money. All you guys that stopped in today. You guys rock. Shake, I'm sure your show at 6 p.m. today on the Fins tailgate will be awesome because all you Dolphin fans are awesome today. And I appreciate you guys coming in. Fins up. Happy Friday. Go have fun and enjoy life. The Dolphins will give us some enjoyment at some point in our life. That's my last thing.
Dolphins thirsty, they never show no mercy. On the field or in the game, Miami knows how to play. Dolphins thirsty, we all get down and dirty. Tell you what you want to know, it's the Dolphins Show. Quench your thirst for all things Miami Dolphins. They are the football kings, cause they play to win. Come on in and have some fun, whether we have lost or we have won, for all things